There were, going back to actresses and actors that you wanted to use, Evangeline Lilly, was one that you had for Stargate Atlantis, had in mind for her, had set her aside because you're like, you didn't want to use her on this, and she went on to go and do an amazing ABC series.
The story was that, I remember she auditioned for us, she was an unknown actress at the time, and she was auditioning for the part of nurse. And she didn't have like a character name, and it was 2 lines, and she was fantastic. And I remember after she was done, I went to Sean Causey, who was our casting director at the time, and said, she's amazing, but I can't give her a role. I'm not going to burn her for 2 lines and then not be able to bring her back. We've got to bring her back for a meaty role. And then he's like, great, I'll tell her and we'll set her aside and we won't give her this role. And then 2 months later, we had the role, and I was like, I want to see Evangeline Lilly. And he's like,
what did you want her for?
I believe, I don't recall.
But it was something bigger.
Yeah, it was definitely something bigger.
Atlantis?
I think it was in Atlantis. I think it was probably the role of, I guess I don't remember the name of one of the characters in, we introduced early on, the all-female team.
Yes, absolutely. It's for, Whispers.
Yeah. But we had introduced the character a couple of seasons earlier, a couple of episodes earlier.
I know what you're talking about.
And then Sean said, well, she's shooting something. She's shooting a pilot in Hawaii, but who knows if that's going to go? And then chances are she'll be back and we can use her again. I was like, okay. And then that pilot turned out to be lost, and she did pretty well for herself. So she didn't really need us.
Grace Park was the other one that I really wanted to...
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of great actors that came out of... if you go through the list on Stargate... I mean, from Stargate, just even one quick... Just in kids, and I mean...
Roger Cross,
Joe Dell. I mean, there's so many actors that come out of Vancouver that ended up going on to bigger things. They've all been on Stargate. I mean, it was an institution. And the town wasn't as busy as it is now, and it was a place where everybody wanted to work,
hang out.
And it really was hang out.
And do you think that the kind of the atmosphere, because obviously Stargate shows are famous for kind of having that kind of family atmosphere on set. Was there kind of like a word of mouth thing among talent, among the kind of acting circles that said, come on, if you can get onto this show, it's a whole lot of fun.
Yeah, and I think, actors in general, I think, like to hang out with each other, and there's no different in Vancouver, and so you wanted to try to, I think anybody in Vancouver wanted to get on, the key is always to try to get on something for, maybe it's a multiple episode kind of run or a regular, but I just think that the environment that was created from sort of Brad, Rob, and Joe and Paul and everybody else there really kind of created a situation where it was like they knew they would come and have a fun time. I mean, it's a stressful gig being on set as it is, and so if you can come and actually have a good time at the same time, and I think that was an important kind of thing that everybody tried to create there. And so of course they were like, I want to work on that show.
Yeah. Remember Renee Aubergenois played a guest role in season 4.
First episode too.
And he ends up getting killed off. And I remember after the episode, he came up to us and was like, by the way, you don't realize my character has a twin brother who could make a return appearance. Throw that away. But one guy who comes to mind is Robert Picardo. We were big fans of his from his Star Trek Voyager days, and so we cast him.
If the Stargate's existence were public knowledge, and your actions were being judged in the court of public opinion...
You're the one suggesting that sending a rescue team worth $27 million to save the life of one man is a bad business decision.
And over the course of the many years, rehabilitated his character. So he went from like kind of the annoying pencil pusher to, by the end, this kind of very vulnerable, somewhat lovable commander of the Atlantis expedition.
But still didn't change who it was, though.
No.
Your priorities are not necessarily always the same as ours. You're being asked to fly to another galaxy, to take what might turn out to be the losing part in a battle that isn't yours.
You mean like everyone on this base has been doing for the last 5 years?
Thank you for your consideration, Mr. Woolsey, but I assure you it is not necessary.
We're not going anywhere.
Very well.
That transition, and there are certain moments that like pivotal moments. I remember when he had to do the report on Weir,
Mm-hmm.
and he's like, "Don't worry." Like, those were those kind of moments, like,
And then it got done to him.
Yeah.
So-
But there was also actors in town who played a role and they would have been in makeup, and then they came back and did something else.
Jewel State.
Jewel State.
Yeah,
so I was
yeah,
gonna
yeah,
say,
exactly.
like, that's the big one. And then I mean, there was a number of them. Like somebody would play.
Alex Sahara again and again
Yeah.
and again. You know, from Unas to Super Soldier.
Yeah.
Dan, Dan
Payne?
Payne.
Good old
I mean,
Dan Payne.
he was in 30 different. He did 30 different things. He did stunts on the show. He acted in the show. He was he was that big super wraith at that one time. I think it was a
The
super
Uber
wraith.
Wraith.
You want me? I'll be waiting.
People would come back because you could be either your character could come back because they would be somehow revived.
You started off as Richard Dean Anderson's assistant. You did a guest part as a
Air Force
Blinky cadet.
Yeah, that's what they
in-
call me,
in
Blinky
uniform.
Cadet, because I blink a lot. Well, the stuff that was actually filmed, they were able to squeeze the line out with me not being super blinky. And so as I took it, that was a beating that day.
But then,
On set, I took a beating from Peter DeLuise.
but then, from that to special features producer.
Actually, I went and worked with you guys in the writers' room as the script coordinator.
Oh yeah, how was that? How was that? Memorable?
It was memorable. It was actually not bad at all.
I was gonna say, it sounds terrible.
We ate a lot of good food, and then
You rolled the dice in Vegas.
I rolled the dice in Vegas. It was there was. You never won. I mean, you were on camera a few times, or just once.
Once.
Just once. That was the idea.
That was just in Wormhole Extreme? Are you sure?
Pretty sure, yeah.
And what was your line?
Hey, what happened to all the donuts?
Did you ever consider trying to get yourself on screen more?
No.
No.
You have to
I'm
be-
much better behind the camera.
You gotta be
as
a
this
special.
interview will bear out.
Or Martin Garrow, his blip walking by the background in one shot. You know, you do the whole special feature about it. I think, isn't he in the final take? Doesn't he walk by briefly in that?
Oh, he does.
episode?
Yes.
Yeah.
That was the best thing I could ever do. So we did. You remember that special feature we did? It was basically he.
Danger
Road
Beckett.
to a Dream.
Road to a
with Martin
Dream.
Garrow.
Yeah.
And
So funny.
Danger Beckett. Yeah, I think that it was him. We could kind of. I mean, he was up to do anything. That was the good thing. He came on. He's such a funny guy. He's got this great comedy background. I was like, hey, we should do this. He's like, I'm in. And so we ended up, making sure that he was actually in the final scene. And it was.
He's not there for half a second.
No.
Yeah.
And it was, but everybody jumped on board. Martin Wood was the director on the episode we were messing around with. He did this stuff with Paul McGillian, with Hewlett, with Rachel. I mean, that's a pretty nice thing. I think everybody was willing. I mean, the not too many shows have somebody who's there like every day. And I could be completely annoying because when you always have an extra camera in your face, or you're like, hey, you want to do this? Hey, can we talk to
Could
this?
drive you nuts.
Yeah, and we had a pretty good group of people. I mean, the actors were so willing to do anything. I remember the first day Jason Momoa showed up, and he was doing stunt rehearsals with Bam Bam, and I was like, I'm gonna go grab my camera and shoot that. And I walk in with the camera, and Jason Momoa was, he wasn't as big as he is now, but he was, he'd done a bunch of stuff. And I didn't introduce myself because they were just doing stuff. So I'm just sitting there, and he looked and he's like, "Who's that?" And then Bam Bam was like, "That's Ivan." And then we met each other, and then it turned into like a pretty good friendship. And he was so willing to do whatever and be on camera. And everybody having a camera there, it was a luxury. And I learned how much of a luxury it was after I left that show. The willingness to just sort of like turn to a camera and tell me what's going on, and like, tell me what's going on today. Tell me about this scene. Tell me about this stunt. You could pull a producer down. You could pull a director. You could do anything you wanted, and everybody was so willing to jump on board.
And you find that is not typical of them
But
being
it's
receptive or
not
having the time to film, have someone else there.
It's not typical because a lot of shows don't want to necessarily spend the money to have that going all the time. But also, it's not typical because it's hard enough to come on, onto a show and do what you need to do and act and remember your lines. And a director, it's enough work for them to think about what this scene is and what the next scene is. And producer has, whether he's writing or whether he's dealing with So you learn after how great everybody was in terms of, giving me the time and giving the show the time, and I think ultimately giving the fans the time to kind of take them into the world a little bit, because it's a lot of work to make television. And
What's amazing is that Ivan covered so many episodes and he had so much behind the scenes footage that really, when he moved from Vancouver, he was like, I don't know what to do with all this stuff. I was like, I'll put it in my garage, and then I ended up bringing it here, and now it's heading over to MGM and you guys, and so. But you must have like at least like 1,000 hours of behind the scenes, never before seen footage.
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, when you're shooting whether it's a 10-minute feature or it was a 2-minute feature at the time. I mean, you're just shooting constant stuff, and so there would be days where I'm like, I'm going to go shoot this thing because I got to do something with Rick, but maybe Rick wasn't available, but you just shoot anyway. Mm-hmm. And so I don't remember what's on there, but if you're going to have to go through it, you're going to find some interesting.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Fans are in for a treat.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
I can't, yeah, it's going to be really exciting because we're going to see segues of none used into, this is where they use this stuff. And this is what happened after the fact that he didn't get to use in it. And so I feel very honored.
Behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes.
Yes.
But even going to we went to White Sands, we went to New Mexico a couple times, we were in Vegas. And you do a quick piece on that, but you're there for 7 days or whatever it was, in the Arctic. Like the amount of stuff I shot in the Arctic, because it's like, oh god, that was a trip.
I was gonna say, like in terms of locations?
We
favorite.
GBRD easily.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. The Arctic was an experience because it's something you'll never do again. I mean,
hang on. True or false? I was not even on those meetings. But I heard that when Chris Judge heard the word polar bear, he said he was out.
I was going to ask you. I thought you knew.
I heard.
True story.
Really?
No.
He's like, I think it was well, because they have basically the people from Atlas, what was it?
Atlas, Barry Campbell and his team.
Yeah, they came in and you have to be honest. I mean, how it works out is that you're flying to Prudhoe Bay, Alaska, and then you get into this old rickety plane and you fly 250 miles off the coast of Prudhoe Bay onto the ice.
A block of ice.
Onto the ice. You're onto the moving ocean.
Yeah.
And so they're not going to sugarcoat it. They're going to tell you.
They die.
And we were there. There was an accident on one of the British subs where somebody unfortunately passed.
And so Tinian was dedicated to him.
Yeah, and it wasn't a joke. So they had to tell you these are minus 70.
Yeah.
They have to tell you all the things that can go wrong. So that
you just walk and fall right through the.
There was cracks in the ice. There was, there's that one scene where we had the sub breaking up through the ice.
2 or 3 takes.
But it took a long time. And that particular scene when the sub breaks through the ice. It was minus 60. We were.
So it was warm.
It was
relatively speaking.
Relatively speaking,
it
was warm.
Minus 60. We actually had to be helicoptered to the location because we had to find a nice piece of ice where they would put an X on the ice. And
literally.
And so this is what's happening. The ice is moving. There's a current, and now the sub has to come and hit the X. And so it wasn't a situation where they could, we couldn't break 5 different holes. So it took a long time. So I remember that there was that one scene where about 4 hours we were standing in that. Like you're not, and you can't run, and you can't jog, you can't swim. So you're just. It was cold. It was cold, and it was. I mean, when you first land in that plane, you look around and you realize I'm not home.
Yeah.
If something goes wrong, it's a long way away. So they would have to sort of get the plane together and get you out of there. And so it wasn't a joke. But once you were there, once you got your bearings, it was an experience that I'll never forget. And when the sub actually did break up, then we got to go onto the sub. I remember I was an extra. That's another screen moment.
Right.
I was there. I was.
I haven't seen him yet.
Yeah.
All right.
So
go back and watch. Fish and chips.
Yes.
Fish and
chips. Thank you.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. Thank
you. Appreciate it. Is this ketchup? It is. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
So
we were at the Peter Pan Bistro in Toronto, by the way. So that's where you can find this lovely meal. So
including a gin popcorn. Can I?
Yes.
I'm just going to try gin
Please,
popcorn.
be my guest.
How was the gin popcorn?
It was okay. But go ahead. You were saying you were out in the middle of nowhere and home is far away.
In the high Arctic, the sub breaks up through the ice. And so we shot all that stuff. It worked out. It was amazing. It was an experience to behold. The fact that the ice didn't crack, so we didn't fall through, was also a miracle, I thought. And so we all decided we're going to shoot some stuff on the sub. So that wasn't a set that was built. It was an actual sub in the Arctic. We go on there, and I remember whether it was Martin or Rick were like, "Hey, you should be in this scene. You should be an extra." And they're like, and the I don't know, one of the main guys on the sub was like, his sideburns are too long. And I was like, oh man, I don't really want to lose my sideburns here. they're like, cut your sideburns out. Damn it. So I'm used to that whatever fancy razor that's a little easy. Yeah. But they had they gave me one of the regulation ones. It was the one
Bic or something.
Yeah. And I press it down, and I just took a whole thing of skin. So now I'm pouring blood. And I don't remember what his.
We can't use him. He's bleeding all over the place.
Yeah, whoever the general was, the head guy in the sub. I should know what his rank was. I'm terrible. I apologize.
Head sub guy.
Yeah, that's it. I think that's it. You nailed it. He saw me bleeding, and he was like, trying to win the Purple Star. Or the Purple Heart, or whatever it was.
Purple Heart,
yeah. And I was completely embarrassed, and I think you could probably be in between takes. I was just trying to stop the bleeding.
And the sideburns were still too long.
Still too long. Yeah. That was in terms of shooting, it was definitely an exciting.
And because of a fan.
Yes.
Barry Campbell, awesome human being.
Super
approaches, I think Brad and Martin at one of the conventions in Vancouver. You want to go to the Arctic, and a couple of years go by, and you did it.
Yeah.
We had heard the rumors, but I mean, to actually pull that off, and no one got to do that. I think that's still something that's relatively unique in terms of film.
That was crazy. The fact that was that happened.
Yeah.
And for a guy like John Smith and the producers to go, we can make this happen. We can do this. Except Chris Judge. Like Rick loved it. He was, he's an adventurous guy. So Richard
conservationist. So it was perfect for him.
Yeah, he was excited to be there. Amanda, we took so many great photos. I have all those photos too, if you want them.
No, you're good. No, yeah.